everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Kathy at Tatty Treasures, etc. And today I am going to be working with some more of the Memories at the Meadow papers from CollageType and Tatty Treasure. And so I'm going to be working with this floral paper here and this floral paper. And then these are printed on heavy matte paper. And then these two are printed on glossy photo paper. And as you can see, my printer had a little bit of a, I don't know what's going on with it. But anyway, this is the one that I want to use right here. And then this frame, which I've also printed on glossy. So what my plan is I have this box that I've turned into a cover, and I've covered it with felt on both sides, and I am going to make a little journal. So I'm going to use some of the fabric paper excuse me, that I made in a previous video, and I'll link that below, to go on the outside of the cover. And then I'm going to make a journal topper out of it with the frame and the little picture of the fairy. So the first thing I'm going to do is cover my my box, you know, my book. So I'm gonna put the cover on, and to do that I'm going to use Fabric Fusion. It is by Aileen, and I really like this stuff. So I just use Fabri-Tac to put the felt on, and I use the felt because I like the way it feels when you're holding it. It gives it more of a soft, kind of a little spongy feel, I guess. And this is double back tape. So I'm gonna start with the center here, the spine. You can see what I'm doing. There we go. And I'm just going to turn this over, and I want to make sure that I have enough on the edges to fold over, and that should be plenty. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to just put, attach the fabric tape to the rest of it, and attach the rest of the fabric paper to the outside of the cover here. So I'm going to turn the camera off and do that off camera because, it's kind of boring just to see me attaching double back tape and taking the backing off. So I'll be right back as soon as I'm done with that. Alright, I have got the cover firmly attached to the outside, and now I'm just going to get on with the business of putting the whole thing together. Now, of course, I do want to have a dangle on the outside, so I like to use these little brads by Tim Holtz, these little book rings. So I'm going to poke a hole through here so that I can attach this before I fold this over. Okay, so just need to find the center. That looks good. And I'll get a Sharpie. Just a little ways from the top. And I'm going to take my big bite here, my crocodile, and I'm going to put it on the smallest hole, the smallest punch, which is the one in the front. As you can see, it comes down. If you push this back, then you get the bigger punch, but I want the little one. And sometimes it's hard to see, but okay, that worked out. I'm just going to put this right through that hole to the other side. And then spread the little legs apart. The only thing about this is that you have to, the legs have to be up and down like that, and so they kind of get in the way of where I want to fold it. So because this part is kind of hanging over the top edge of the spine, I'm going to take my little cutters here and I'm just going to cut part of that off. Maybe just a tiny bit more. It almost came off. Okay, that's good. Grab some Fabri-Tac here. And I know some people are like pros at, you know, cutting the corner, but then whenever I do that, the corner always shows through. So what I do is just fold the corners up like this and get them in place. So they're just kind of like mitered, I guess. So I hope everybody's doing okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to use one of these clips to hold it until the glue dries. There we go. So summer's here, and well, not summer, but spring, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done outside. We're still doing our backyard rehab that we started last year, and I was hoping it would be done last year, but it's not. So we're going to be doing that, and then also I have volunteering activities that tend to ramp up more in the summer, so that might keep me out of my craft room a little bit more than I like. But volunteering is good, right? I think so. It's just a matter of, you know, trying to fit everything in, and that's not always easy. So I'm just going to cut some little notches here in the groove, I guess you want to call it, of the spine, and then that makes it easier for when you're opening and closing the book, so it doesn't get all bunchy. So I'm just going to do that, and then once the corners are dry, I will fold up the rest, and then we can get cracking on with the rest of the project. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry, and now while that's drying, rather than go off camera, I'm going to cut out this frame, and I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to emboss it as well. So let me get my craft knife here. These are so pretty. Make sure it's on the line here, so I cut straight. Okay, now I'm going to emboss this. I use my trusty Cuddle Bug I've had forever. I've thought about investing in something like a Big Shot, but then I think, why? I mean, this is working just fine. It's really low tech. So I'm using this embossing folder, and I don't know where it came from. I think I just picked it up at Michael's or something, and I don't know the name of it or the manufacturer or anything. Oh, that looks really pretty. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to ink up the edges, and I'm going to use some ground distress oxide. Get rid of the white edges. And then the other thing that I want to do is take some of this Gilder's paste wax and highlight the raised parts. And kind of brings out the color a little bit, or the pattern, I guess. Makes it look really rich. Yeah, I like that. That looks really good. Now, the other thing that I want to cut out is this fairy picture. I don't know what's wrong with my printer. I think the print heads need to be cleaned. And I don't really know how to do that. I need to ask my husband and see if he knows how, because I don't. And we'll just put her behind here. I like that this has a little arch that matches the arch here, so that's how we're going to attach that. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue. And then I have this piece of upholstery fabric that I wanted to mat this onto as well. So we'll just this time use Fabri-Tac since I'm gluing to fabric. Okay, so that is not finished yet. I also want to fussy cut this flower out. I'm going to attach that to the edge of the frame just for a little bit of interest. And then we'll just glue that right on there. So I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but this is going to be a topper for the journal cover. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside for a minute because another piece that I want to put on is one of these little butterflies, and these are Dollar Tree butterflies that I have soaked, and then you peel them apart, and each one has 4 layers, and so you can take them all apart. Let's zoom in a little bit there. There, so you can take them apart, and then you've got 4 instead of just one. So each pack, let me show you. So each pack has 6 butterflies in it, but when you take them apart, each one becomes 4. So it actually has like 24 pieces. So what I would like to do with this is to emboss it. And I'm going to use my embossing dauber from Distress. And I'm going to use gold embossing powder. So I'll be right back after that's embossed. Okay, isn't that lovely? Okay, they come out so pretty. So I'm going to put that right there. And we'll use some art glitter glue for that. So I only soak these for maybe 2 minutes. As soon as you start to see them, or as soon as you see them start to peel apart, then just take them out of the water and lay them flat on a paper towel and let them dry, you know, after you peel the layers all apart. And then voila. Crafting on a budget. Okay, so that's part way done. I have a couple more things I want to do to it, but I'm going to set it aside for now and finish putting together the cover, because that should be ready to go by now. There we go. So let's see, we'll put some right there. And right here. This tape is so much easier for me to work with anyway. A lot less messy. Kind of knew when I was going to run out too, and I knew my husband was out running errands and he was going to be right by the fabric store, Joann's. So I texted him, "Are you still over there? Can you please pick up some fabric fusion for me?" He's awesome that way. Very supportive. It's getting to be hiking weather too, so I'm getting kind of excited about that. So that's another thing. I recently been diagnosed with osteoporosis, and I don't want to take the medication. So what that means is that I need to get a lot more exercise, and of course I'm eating foods that are very high in calcium, and doing a lot of, you know, strengthening, weight resistance training, and strength training, I guess is what I want to call it. So that I can, I mean, it's not very bad yet, which is good. So there's a possibility that, you know, I can at least keep it from getting worse. And maybe even grow a little bone back, because the more you stress, it's just like muscle, you know, the more you stress it, that's what causes your bones to grow. And you can grow more bone. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but I just don't want to take that medication. But the upshot of that is that I cannot just sit at my craft table all day long. I have to be up and moving around and doing as much walking and maybe a little running and stuff like that. So I have like leg weights, ankle weights rather, that I wear when I'm doing my leg exercises. And what that is, put a little bit more glue in there. I do this walking video that's put on by the American Heart Association, and it's called Walk at Home, and it's about a 3-mile walk, so they say. My Fitbit doesn't agree, but it's very aerobic, very energetic, and it's about 40 minutes long. And I try to do that about 3 times a week, or as often as possible. And there's a lot of, I don't know, like marching in place, and, you know, so I'm really banging my feet down hard on the ground. And that's what helps your bones to encourage them to grow. So, so that kind of thing is really good for me. But hiking is good too, because there's a lot of uphill and downhill and some challenging spots. And I could tell the last time I went hiking, which wasn't all that long ago. We had we have a nice little place that we like to hike. Oh, that looks so good. Isn't that pretty, guys? I just love that. Anyway, there's a really nice place to hike on the island that we live on. And so whenever we go there, there's like I said, a lot of uphill, a lot of downhill, and I was really able to tell how much the walking video was helping me, because I was even able to jog up and down some parts of the trail, which is really good for me. I also wear a weighted vest when I'm doing my exercises at home, my walk at home video, and because there's a lot of arm activity, so I mean, it's a whole body workout, and I wear weighted, wrist weights too. So I'm trying to build up muscle, which will support my bone, and also encourage more muscle and more bone, and all of that at the same time. So I'll be doing more yard work, more hiking. Unfortunately, that means less time crafting. But, I hope to avoid having to use a walker later in life. And I've been told that because I've always been on slim and Caucasian, and those are 2 pretty high risk factors for osteoporosis. So I tell people that's what I get for being a skinny white chick my whole life. But as long as I can be active, I'm going to be active. We love riding bikes, but that doesn't do anything for your bones. It's good for your muscles, it's good for your heart. But I need more of the higher impact stuff right now, because I don't want to break a hip. or anything else for that matter. Okay, before we put these guys down, I need to attach the ribbon. I have this ribbon, I've been dying to use it. Isn't it pretty? Can you see it? And I'm going to be taking out the wire. So I'm going to cut the second one, and I'm going to put some Fray Check on the ends so that the ribbon doesn't fray. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm just adding some Fray Check to the edge of this ribbon here, and I just happened to notice, and it's actually called Fray Check if you've never seen this before. You can get it at the fabric store. It says, "Do not put an eye." Okay. You know, it blows my mind why they, that they have to put these, it's not coming out. They have to put these instructions, these warnings, because obviously somebody at one point put some in their eye. Why would anybody do that? And you just drizzle a little bit of this on the edge, and it will do its job, which is to keep it from fraying. I'll set that aside. It takes a minute to dry. Okay, so when I thought I was going to use this side to be the front, I forgot about the little hook here, or the little ring, so this is the front. Okay, so I'm going to attach my ribbon, trying to find the center. Let's do it like this. Okay, that's close. Okay, so that will hold that in place. Do the same thing over here. Okay. Oh, look at that. They came out perfectly. Okay, so this side is up. Now it's just a matter of which one do I want where. I gotta make sure that they're cut down enough too, because this cover is a little bit smaller than what I usually use because of the size box it was. So I'm gonna trim this down just a smidge. I just don't want any interference when you're opening the book, or closing it rather. I don't want it to interfere with the spine at all. These papers are so pretty. Okay, not ready to go down yet. Let's grab some vintage photo. We'll put some ink back on where I cut the inked part off. It's actually inked in the picture itself. And then I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and sew all around. If you've followed me on my channel, you know I love to have sewing. And of course, it's always optional. I just happen to really like it. Okay, I shall be right back. All right, so now we can attach the, make sure I've got the right side up, attach the inside covers, and I'm just going to use Fabri-Tac. This paper is directional, so I'm making sure that I have the right side up. So Tania and Nanine really did such a good job on making these papers. They're so pretty. They are in their Etsy shops. some of them are on sale through the month of May, but I cannot remember which ones are which. The ones that were last year's kits are on sale. So this is, by the way, I guess I should have mentioned, it's a guest collaboration with Tatty Treasures and CollageType. I think I did mention that at the beginning, but I just wanted to make sure that I got that in there in case I failed to mention it. So I'm quite pleased to have been asked to participate. I'm just absolutely in love with these papers. Okay, so this is the cover. I'm not putting anything here yet because I'm not really sure what I want to do in the center of the inside, but I do want to add, oh, look at how pretty that ribbon is with this cover. Oh, so gorgeous. Okay, so I do want to add my, my topper here, and what I wanted to do is, maybe I'll do it like this. Okay, you know what? Why don't I tie it that it'll stay closed? Okay, now maybe it'll cooperate with me a little bit better. So my idea here is to take these little lace medallions that I cut off, and I want to put one here on the top. Okay, I think it's going to be easier if I do it backwards, like this. Okay, so let's put this one on the bottom, and Fabric Fusion to the rescue. This is how we're going to do this. So these these upholstery fabric samples, I got a whole bunch of them at a garage sale a couple of years ago, and I mean, at first the lady thought that maybe I would want to make masks out of them, but you can't make a mask out of a out of upholstery fabric. But I did tell her that I was interested in buying some of them. And she wanted to sell the entire lot, 2 great big, huge bins under a banquet table, and for $5 for the whole thing. I was like, well, I don't have room for all of that, but I'll take half. So I got a whole bunch, and they were all in books too, so we took them out of the books to make them easier to handle and store. Now I have the, uh-oh, let go. Ah. Okay, we'll try it. We'll start over with that one. I have them on book rings now in like a file bin, roughly by color family. Anyway, the whole bunch of them cost me $2.50. So I'm always happy when I find a use for some of them. I probably have a lifetime's worth. Okay, how's your view? Let's make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay, so which one is the top? Okay, that's the top. And I want the top to have the point. Like that. And then the rest of them are not going to have the point. they just kind of nicely match up. Like that. Actually, I think I'll bring the sides in a little bit. Okay, now let's try it. Oh, that's better. Okay, I like that. Okay, let's get this glued on. And I'll use Fabri-Tac for that. Okay, I'm really loving this. And I had this vintage tape. Yeah, I really want to use this. It's a tape measure. It's fabric and it's sewn and it's double-sided. So it's sewn on this edge. But I just thought that this would look really cute here. And I still think so. All right, so I'm going to take my pinking shears. And cut it at the 6 1/4. I love that sound that my pinking shears make. This is the first project I've used this on. I've had it for a while. Found it at an antique store. Okay. Fabri-Tac. I love how vintage this is too. Uh-oh. Got some on my table. I just love the way that looks there. I think maybe because I think I like the way it looks with her dress. Okay guys, I'm gonna call this done for today. Next Friday we'll start working on the inside and decorating, you know, some of the with pockets and things like that from the memories of the meadow. So anyhow, this is a good start. I'm really happy with this. Excuse me. And I'm really glad that I'm able to use my fabric paper that I made. So that's it for today. I hope you liked this, and I hope you'll check out more of the memories of the meadow. And if you want to see how I made the fabric paper, I will link that at the end of this video. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for coming back. And thanks for coming if this is your first time here. So please like and subscribe because that really helps my channel quite a lot. And happy crafting, everybody. And always remember, let the serendipity find you, because serendipity is what helps us to create. So have a wonderful day, everybody, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.